Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today's phrase is to take its toll. Now, it sounds a bit unusual, so I'm going to try to explain first of all where this phrase comes from. So, as you probably know, when you're traveling on some main roads in some countries, you have to stop and pay some money to the government. That might be just for the maintenance of the roads. It might just be some kind of government tax. But sometimes, if you're on a bus or if you're driving, you have to stop and there's a little check. It's not a border check exactly. They just ask you to pay an amount of money and they give you a little bit of paper in return, which allows you to pass through. Now, they used to be very common here in the UK. We had tolls. We had toll bridges. In fact, there was one near here, which is now free, but it used to be a toll bridge. Now, tolls basically mean charges. So if something takes its toll, it takes its money. Now, we use this phrase to talk about things which take some kind of energy from us or cause us some kind of stress. It's a very common metaphor. So we're not talking about money, but it comes from the days when the man took his toll, or perhaps more accurately, the government took their toll, or the road took its toll. Now that you know the history of it, let's move forward a little bit and talk about the phrase. So it's always with it. We don't talk about people taking their toll. We always refer to something which is taking its toll in a particular circumstance. For example, if you keep working excessively, the stress will eventually take its toll. That means your health will be affected. Too much sunlight can take a heavy toll on your skin. My friend's illness has really taken its toll on her marriage. The building looked perfect in the past, but now, after years of neglect, we can say that the wind and the rain has really taken its toll. Now, it is possible to say in plural that things have taken their toll, taken their charge, if you like, or taken the goodness out of something, but it's always with it, taken its toll. This expression emphasizes the impact of negative factors over a period of time. That can be physical health, mental health, it can be just about anything. Working with my boss has really taken its toll. I mean, these days I don't feel so confident with people in case they become aggressive. So you can hear there that it takes all different forms. It's very common to hear this in our media, and it's very common to use it as well. In fact, I'm going to read for you a news story that's appeared in one of our newspapers today and this is the Daily Star. The Daily Star of today says Britain's obesity crisis is taking its toll on firefighters who are having to take sick days due to the strain of lifting plus-sized patients. That means overweight people. Dorset Fire Service has revealed that 6 members of staff needed time off to recover after being called out last year. So it's saying basically that these firefighters were asked to help the local hospital move people. Now, these firefighters assisted the local hospital 97 times, moving people who reportedly weighed over 30 stone. Now, 30 stone would be somewhere around, I'm really bad with the metric system because I'm British, but it would be, I think, somewhere around 200 kilograms, maybe 190 kilograms. So the fire service has said, we attend this type of incident to support our National Health Service colleagues when there is a risk to life. And the Health Survey for England in 2021 estimated that 26% of UK adults are obese. And that just means completely overweight. So that's very interesting. So, of course, when you are overweight, it really takes its toll on your health. Now, of course, there is the reason, well, why are we so overweight? Well, we live in a culture which is just like America now. It's completely consumerist, and big is better. The more you can eat, the more you can drink. It shows that you have a happy life. But yeah, I would really like the government to understand, though, why we're like that, because I think that inside many people there's a very deep unhappiness which is covered up by eating, drinking, and then of course there's the British attitude towards these things. As we discussed the other day, very soon we'll be able to buy pints of wine. We don't really seem to appreciate the delicate and beautiful things in life. We just use them for our own satisfaction, mainly to get drunk. Another example of that is in our papers today. Now, you know those little chocolates, French pastries. Some people call them pain au chocolat. Other people call them chocolate pastries. Other people call them croissants with chocolate inside them. There's a place now in London who are selling, well, it's a place which is selling very large versions of these. There's one being advertised today. It's XXL, that means extra, extra large, croissant or croissant that feeds 8, and the cost is £25. And it can be ordered in a super size pain au chocolat version at a bakery in London. I mean, that kind of thing is really going to take its toll on your health if you eat that thing alone. And we're going to read that story as well. It says, Pastry fans have been flocking to a bakery to try a £28 pan au chocolat. It says here the huge treat, which is made of butter, can be ordered as a supersized croissant or pan au chocolat in a bakery in South London. It said that the chocolate version is the same size as the non-chocolate version, and it has 3,000 calories. The croissant is at a bakery, and different people have tried it. Apparently, it's quite viral on TikTok, and a local musician has also shown herself eating this thing. And a food blogger visiting London from Vancouver, Canada, described it as being fairly decent. I mean, can you imagine a, a, a pan au chocolat or croissant that's so big? And it just makes me wonder about British people and their attitude towards eating. I mean, I love food. And before I started traveling to other countries, I really didn't care about food. I would just eat anything. I didn't even stop to think about what it was, what it tasted like. It was really just to satisfy a craving. It wasn't any kind of appreciation for food. I mean, I'm very different now, but looking around here where I live, there's lots of really, really grossly overweight people, and that nobody seems to see this as a problem, except perhaps the local hospital. So it's very interesting how these things are. So that I think would really be taking a toll on the body. And another couple of stories from the media. There's one here that says last night our airports across the UK had a problem with their e-gates. That's those electronic gates that you put your passport in that allow you to enter the country. So basically, people were flying home to different airports across the UK yesterday, and the whole system crashed, leaving people around the country very upset. And it says here there were chaotic scenes at airports across the UK last night as Border Force passport e-gates reportedly failed. Long queues started to form at Manchester and Heathrow, as well as Stansted. It says here Stansted in London had similar issues. Well, Stansted's nowhere near London, is it? As we all have found out, when we try to travel to London, you end up at, what is it they call it? London Stansted. And then you sit on a bus for almost 2 hours trying to get into central London. One passenger said a computer outage at Heathrow border control, a few thousand people in line, and not one person at Heathrow is able to figure out what happened. Someone else who was stuck at Stansted said, the e-gate's not working. Welcome back to the UK. Yes, apparently this time last year, almost a year ago to the day, the same thing happened. And of course, some people here are complaining and saying what British people always say when we complain. They're saying, wow, other countries like Spain and France seem to be able to deal with this. Why can't we? Someone else here is saying, countries around the world can get us through airports in 20 minutes. It's just typical that I'm stuck at Heathrow for almost 3 hours. Yeah, we love to do that. British people, we love to complain. And when we're complaining, we always mention, oh, but other countries manage. And usually we point to France or Spain. But yeah, that's probably because France and Spain have very modern new airports. Many of them have been built up over the last few years, so they have good technology. It's very hard to bring in something new upon something which is very old. And if you want any examples of that, look at our education system. It really does need to be renovated, but yet people insist that kids should go face the front, be punished by the teacher. Yes, and of course, as I always say, that isn't the way to learn. It's the way to learn discipline, but it's certainly not the way to learn a language. Everyone I talk to has really bad memories of school, including me. And another example, of course, would be our criminal justice system. I mean, in America, prisons are actually called penitentiaries, coming from the old religious word to be penitent or sorry for your sins and crimes. So, yeah, these things need to be renovated and brought up to date, but no one seems to want to do that yet. Anyway, as you can hear there, those are a few examples of taking its toll. So the queues last night at airports around the UK were taking their toll or taking its toll on people who were waiting to get through the barriers. Finally, just to let you know that I'm going to be recording a number of older news stories lasting between 5 and 7 minutes, which will accompany this podcast. And those news stories, you can use them for shadowing, or you can use them for other things, such as practicing vocabulary. My idea is that in the long term, on days where I won't be able to record podcasts like this one, those other podcasts will be enough for you to study every day. I mean, I've no intention of stopping these longer podcasts because I enjoy doing them, but I suppose there will be days when it may not be possible to record them. So it will be good to rely on the other ones. You know, when, for example, I lose my voice, which happens from time to time, or if I'm struggling, with a busy morning, at least you will have something there to study. But don't worry, I have no intention of stopping these podcasts. So I just want to tell you that these additional shorter podcasts may be something which you find of interest. And in the long term, I think that means there'll be a lot more material for you to study with. Remember, shadowing is very simple. You just have to imitate a native speaker. You don't have to understand anything that they're saying, just imitate them. That's all. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. That's it from me today. I'll be back again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye.